Hey guys, your Fortrax guy, and today I'm going to snorkel my Honda Rubicon 500. So first things first, I'm gonna rip out the airbox, get started with that. And the secondary airbox here, I'll show you exactly what you do with that. Yeah, just throw that away. Don't need that. You can go with the Rancher airbox, or you can just seal that spot up. So we're just gonna seal that spot up. All right, guys. So I got the airbox out here. As you can see, I got everything cleaned up here. For the secondary box, you can go, like you said, you can go with the 420 Rancher box, which same thing, except the secondary box is already sealed up on it. It's got like the plastic part that's not cut out. So what I did here, just because it was cheap and I don't want to buy another airbox, was I just grabbed a scrap piece of plate, just cut out a shipbox circle there, and put another one on the inside here as well. Got some light here for you. Right. I did one there in the inside as well, so I'll put caulking on that on either side. Make sure it's caulked good, doesn't leak. So that's the next thing. Is I guess I'm gonna get everything all caulked up here, everything installed. Make sure that, you know, they have the little tabs on them. Make sure and when you install these, when you caulk them, you put the tabs in the right spot, right? Yeah, really, it's not much. It's only these three boots that have to come off, 1, 2, and 3. That'll be sealed up in your secondary as well, of course. So I'm gonna seal that up right now. Alright guys, so I just finished sealing up my airbox. As you can see, tons of caulking all around. I took everything apart, cleaned off the inside, put tons of caulking around everywhere. So you got your intake, outtake. This is your air sensor. I even caulked that in. And then down here for your secondary, airbox, I got rid of that, and I took 2 pieces of plate, cut them, and squished the sandwiched it. So I put caulking on the inside and the outside. See here, see the second plate in there. There you go. There's the second plate there. So put a little caulking around the bolts too, just in case. Like I said, I put tons in the inside, should seal up there. Squish it all out. So you could buy a 420 Rancher airbox, but I didn't do that because I had the plate kicking around and the bolts kicking around and the caulking kicking around. So alright guys, so this is my old stock air intake, which I'm going to keep and use. I cut it. As you can see, here's the full end, right? So it's like that. I just took a hacksaw there and just cut it quickly. Left good, like maybe, I don't know, 2 inches on there. And then what I did next was I took a 2-inch PVC pipe and I reamed out the inside here. As you can see, I cleaned that up so these two guys can fit in together, like so. So what I'm going to do, put some caulking in there to seal it all up, put tons in there, make sure it's nice and sealed and then stuck on there. The reason I did this and why is because this is what I had laying around, so I just made it work. So guys, what I got here is 2 3/8 inside diameter Marina. It's a Marina exhaust hose. I bought it for the Rincon when I did the snorkel. I only used, I think, about 6 feet of it, and I only used maybe 2 feet, if that, of it. So I still got another 4 feet of it. I'm going to use that to run against the side of the block when it comes out of the airbox. The outside of this cup is 2 3/8, and that's why I got the inside diameter to that to fit on these. And it helps with the, you know, I like to go bigger with the airflow. Nice snug fit. So that's pretty much the idea, is just get that in there like so, nice and flush. Snug this up as tight as possible, get a good seal on it. I'm also going to put caulking on here to seal it up on the rubber when I put it in. Pop that seal up too. So I'm going to get started on installing this airbox and installing this here, and then I'll figure out what to do up with my snorkel. Alright guys, so I finished off running my all my piping and my tubes, and I got my snorkel ran now. So I'll show you what I used and why I did it. So originally that piece right there, that was my my stock piece kind of a thing. So that goes in the boot. From there I ran a 45 coming out of the engine and up a little bit. With a little half-inch gap there. Half-inch gap to extend it. With another 45 just to get it around the block. I couldn't use the corrugated hose going straight through. It's too much of an angle, too much air restriction. So I had to run it out with the PVC pipe. So it's not a big deal, it's fine. From there, I ran my corrugated hose all the way to the front of the bike. So as you can see there's my corrugated hose with the clamp. From there I ran a 45, which is this piece here. With another straight piece to extend it out to get it away from the shock and up to another 45 here to a 90. I kind of screwed up on the angle a little bit when I was gluing all these together. Please, when you're doing this, just remember to dry fit everything, glue one piece at a time, and keep dry fitting stuff to make sure nothing moves on you. Everything was going good until I got to these two last pieces. Somehow I screwed that up and it came out on a little bit of an angle on me. So right in between here, as you can see, I got about a half inch clearance in between the shock there and my pipe. So it's pretty good there, but if I ever do it like a high lifter lift kit, I might have to redo some of this pipe, which is not a big deal because I have the corrugated hose going right there with the clamp, so it's very easy to remove. So anyway, so 90 up here. So guys, I used a 2.5 inch hole saw here. It only gives you a little bit of room to play with, but it gives you a nice clean look afterwards. I have a little stub coming through. It's about 1.5 inches high. It's about halfway up about here. And then from there, I put my corrugated Marina exhaust hose on here for a clamp. And then I threw my top piece on there, right? So all I did was push it tight to the fender. I clamped it tight, or I clamped it here. I also threw my old boot clamp on the top here to squeeze this, and then I ran my other clamp around here. I welded a little bracket on right here to hold everything nice. It's nice and sturdy. It's got a little bit of play, but that's fine. How I mounted this thing. Alright, so how I did this mounts was I just threw 2 zip ties right here, and this is like the motor mount up here. So I threw 2 zip ties here just in case one gives out to hold that. And then just right in, I don't think you can see it. If you can see right here, I got 2 zip ties right there, connecting to my my rack back here to hold this steady. You see it's pretty sturdy anyway. Up here, I got this little tab welded onto the rack and a clamp on that, so that's nice and sturdy as well. So this thing's pretty sturdy. There's no movement in it. Those are just what, 3 spots. I don't have any movement, so it's pretty good. I'm gonna talk about my breather lines here. So guys, this is the pressure relief valve breather for the coolant. I ran that up. This is my fan motor here. This one here is my rear diff. This guy here is my front diff, and this guy over here is going to be my gas breather. So and then I have my crankcase breather, which I'm not going to run up here. I'm just going to do the circle. If I missed anything, please comment below. Let me know what I missed so I can run the line while I have it that's still torn apart. Appreciate that. But anyways, there's your rear diff wire right there. If you guys can see that there. It runs up here to your frame. And it's connected. I can't remember where it's connected. I think it just sits here or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it just sits here or something. I think it goes in this little hole here. So I pulled it out there. I threw a connector on it. It's right there. See it there? That blue. So that's my diff, my rear diff. So I ran that up. There's my wire there running. As you can see, very good. The front diff here, it was just, I think it was in this hole here somewhere. So I just connected here, ran it up the rest of the way. The fan was already ran up here as well. Same thing. Honda's pretty good. They run all their stuff pretty high. I ran that up the rest of the way too, just threw a connector in right there. The breather, I had to get a bigger hose for the gas and the coolant release valve. So there it is there. I put a connector on it right here, ran it up high. I had to spin this 180, so it was pointing, this was pointing downwards, so I unclipped it, I spun it 180 so it's pointing upwards, and then I just ran my breather line up there, right? Then you had your gas. Now the gas, it was weird. It was running like around, if I can remember this correctly, it ran like through here, around and down on this side. So I connected with the bigger line here, and I just ran it up, straight up into your pod. So I ran all my breather lines up in my pod, not up on my snorkel. I usually don't go much deeper than rack. Like I get racks deep. It's about usually as deep as I get. Usually with these Hondas, they do a little bit of floating, right? So I'd imagine front tires aren't going to be on the ground all the time in deep water. So I'm not too worried about it. Getting a little bit of water in there. I think it'll be okay. I got all my breather lines tucked away nice and neat in the top of the pod here. I also just throw a little dab of caulking around the edge of it, just a little tiny bit to help it seal up, and it works wonders. It helps seals up, and it's easy to get off your airbox. After you see, if you just put a little bit on, you can actually slowly pry it up, clean it off. You put a little dab on it again before you put it back together. That's what I do. It's been working out for me, and I've had zero issues. A reason why I built my own snorkel is because I'm really cheap, and I don't want to buy a kit. I had a hard time finding a decent kit for the Rincon over there, and I ended up buying, I think, buying a bunch of stuff and doing it myself for like 60 bucks or 80 bucks or something like that. I think I ended up spending, which a lot of that stuff I used over here on this machine too. So it was good. Like the PVC pipe I already had, and the corrugated hose I already had. So for the budget on this build, it was really cheap actually. I only had to buy with, I think, 4 45s, 2 90s, 4 clamps, breather lines 1/4 inch and 1/8 to run my breather lines, glue for the PVC. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I spent really on it. So I think I'm what, $40 deep into the snorkel. It cost me 40 bucks to build. So for what I do, it's like I'm doing a budget build here. All my money is in tires and rims right now, to be honest with you guys. I don't really have much money into this bike. That's why I went with a Honda Rubicon, was because it's so easy to make into a mud bike and so cheap. So I've been pretty fortunate on this build. Everything's been really cheap.